How you doing, Jimmy?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's been a long time, dude. We got a
It,
lot of things to unpack here with
we sure
Mania
do.
37, but I tell you what, I will go there in a moment. It was violent, it was excellent, but in the meantime, how the hell are you, bro? It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. I think last time we recorded it was about a year ago in the throes of the pandemic, and I did not think that a year later we'd be kind of in the same place. We're definitely a lot better, dramatically better. I received my vaccine about a month and a half ago, so I'm all vaccinated, and I'm trying to urge people, if they want to, but to do it, just if it makes this thing go away, let it go away. So that I got a new job in March. Um, so that's been good. I just got a new car yesterday, so there's a lot of good things happening on my end. So I'm in a good place.
We love to hear about good, and the past year for me has been great. Getting healthy, been working out a lot, been training martial arts, having great interviews with people such as yourself, and just networking, and just doing things like experience to extremes is a great lyric that the great Neil Peart, drummer of Rush and also lyricist, wrote one time. And I kind of been like following that code of conduct. And then I had Chris Bird on, two-time heavyweight world champion in boxing, and he said, "You got one life, live it." And I was like, "Yeah,
Absolutely,
hell yes, all the
definitely.
way to the extreme." So I've just been getting it in. The family's healthy. And how's your family? How's everyone on your end?
Everyone's good. Everyone's good. We're doing very well. We had a death in the family around Christmas time. We don't know if it's related to COVID or not, but so that was kind of tough. It was my cousin. He was 30, only 31. So that
Oh
was
man, I'm so sorry for your
that
loss.
was pretty rough. Yeah, thank you very much. But so yeah, ups and downs, but now we're in a good place. Summer's almost here, weather's getting warmer, so I'm hoping that everyone stays in the up and up.
Let me ask you something. What age are you at right now, bro?
I'm 28, I'll be 29 in June.
Good for you. I'm 42. And what I do is when I work out, I fall into baby Yoda status. Like I use the force and then I just pass out. Like I'm just like after I'm done with a workout.
There you
So I
go.
have to segue into Star Wars and The
Mm,
Mandalorian because
yeah,
shit season two.
yeah. Yeah, it feels like a while ago. That finale though was absolutely incredible. I had an idea where they were going when they teased on uh Asaka. Oh my God, I
Hmm.
feel like a Star Wars fan. Osaka Tana, that's how you pronounce it,
Hmm.
right?
That's correct.
I swear I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so sorry for anyone who's going to get mad at my mispronunciation. But anyway, that episode when they teased only one Jedi could train him, in my mind I was like, I feel like it's gotta be Luke, but would they really bring him back for that? And oh my God, was one of the most epic scenes I think in all of Star Wars, including the movies back in the the original trilogy. That was an epic scene, and I can't wait to see where they go. And the announcement of about I think 7 to 8 new properties in the world. The Book
It's
of Boba Fett I
crazy.
think is going to be out before the next season of The Mandalorian. I think it's already filmed. There's a Rogue One Andor, I think it's called, that's already filmed or almost going to be done. Kenobi, which I'm super excited about. They just started filming. Hayden Christensen returning to play Darth Vader, and I'm a big Darth Maul guy. I'm hoping that he's somehow. I think he's going to either show up in that one or in the Ahsoka Tano. That's another show they're doing. So much going on. And the next movie, can't remember the name of it, but it's not what we would think. It's not they're not doing like a trilogy type of thing. It's like a standalone movie. I don't know if it's going to the movies or if it's going to go right to Disney Plus, but and they have a new cartoony, The Bad Batch. I think that comes out next month on May the 4th. Um, I've never been huge into like the Clone Wars or the cartoon you know animated type of series. I heard they're amazing. But I might check that out because I think that's a pretty clever concept. Is all the rejected droids and stuff. I think that's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, they're not letting up, man. Star Wars is Disney Plus has got quite the thing going. I checked out WandaVision. I know that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's there right now. Loki, I think debuts in June, so they're just not them and HBO Max, man. I think they're killing the streaming game right now.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, too, I got to ask you a serious question, and I'm going to answer the question on my side. Did you cry when Luke showed up? Because I did.
Cried in like that chill, when it's like an emotion. not as obviously because it wasn't sad, but in that like build up, like holy shit, this is awesome. Oh yeah, definitely, I got some chills and there were some tears. Yeah, and they modeled the scene after Darth Vader in Rogue One. So I thought that was
Absolutely. I
really, I
caught
thought
that
that
right
was,
away. And what I
thought that was
love
very cool.
too, it very fucking cool. Like, you know, when he comes in there and he just slaughters everyone, Luke comes in there like a badass. And you see the X-Wing, you know who it is. And I kind of had
Right.
a feeling we were going to get him, you know, towards the end of the season. I'm like, you know what? I told my wife, I'm like, we're getting Luke Skywalker here. We're going to get him. And when Baby Yoda goes up to the monitor and touches the monitor because he understands, like, this is the guy he called out. Because remember that one episode where
Yeah.
he's meditating and he's trying to call the Jedi from yesteryear? I was like, oh shit. And I'm watching this episode, and dude, I was crying. And I don't know if you saw the reaction to some other people like Kevin Smith. Uh, he was bawling. He was like in complete tears, even talking about it, not even
Yeah.
reacting to it, just talking about it. John Favreau did a great thing with that universe. Like, he really
Oh
kicked
yeah.
its ass. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, and the moment that Mando and Grogu, I believe that's the
yep,
name that they've decided on. It's been a
he's
while.
still Baby Yoda to me always.
Yeah, Baby Yoda. I think there's going to be a huge reuniting scene with Mando. They know what they're doing. That's going to be money to see them reunite, at least for an episode, and to see where the show goes from there. Because I guess that Luke and Grogu are going to have a bit of a story. They can't just. I don't think they're going to just. You know, the show's going to go on, and we're going to assume that that's where Grogu is. They have to have a few episodes of them training together.
I totally agree. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to see some more, and hopefully it's a good ending. Hopefully Baby Yoda goes into retirement like Master Yoda did, and just
Yeah.
kind of get the fuck away
Well,
from all this shit.
I think Grogu may have a bad ending
I
because
know.
if Luke is taking him to where Luke is training with one Mr. Kylo Ren, it looks like the ending is not going to be good for Grogu.
I know.
Unless he made it out and we didn't know, and there's a whole story about, we don't know. I mean, we know that, the Jedi Temple got burned, but we don't know if, Grogu got out, if he left before then. So, but I assume Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, I assume is going to sign on to do an episode. They have to do like a flashback episode.
Oh yeah, they got to tie him in somehow. And
Yeah.
I tell you what, Adam Driver was amazing as Kylo, and I also think Hayden Christensen was excellent as Darth Vader, and as Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker. And I can't wait to see how they write him into the Kenobi series, because I always thought that he was very great, like especially when he talks about when he murders the sand people, or when he responds to Padme about her pregnancy. Like, there's a lot of things that Hayden was excellent at when he had response and show emotion. And I just think he's a very complex, great character.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's fucking Darth Vader.
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Which
And
is
they haven't said James Earl Jones is returning, but they have to have a few episodes. I mean, and I can't wait to see the way they make him look. Like, I assume they're going to do some heavy makeup work to show him burn before he had the transition to the suit and all that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting things to come.
Absolutely, man. And other excitement I've been getting at, because I want to catch up with you. I've been listening to a lot of music. Chevelle released a new record. Amazing. I've been watching a lot of old school martial arts films. What have you been doing to pass your time, man?
I'm a huge music guy. I'm very varied in my music taste, but I am into the more contemporary, pop top 50, and not exclusively. Lana Del Rey dropped a new album recently, and she was someone who in the beginning didn't appeal to a lot of people, but her most recent albums, they've been getting like critical acclaim across the board, like Grammy nominations. Not that that always means anything, but she shifted from her more, she was more poppy, bubblegummy in the beginning, and now she's just like straight up like a very good singer songwriter. Taylor Swift has been absolutely dominating with her 2 surprise albums. That has been, and she's the one who goes across genres. I mean, I know some people, doesn't matter what their sexuality is, their age group, they've been eating her up. And she actually just bought, she's actually re-recording all of her albums because she doesn't want the person who used to own the masters to own them anymore. There's like some controversy with like they wouldn't sell them to her and they're kind of controlling her. So she's literally funding herself her own, like if you look at the bottom how it has the record label's her name, she's re-recording all 7 of her previous albums, and re-releasing them to basically say, this is my shit and I own it. And she just came out with the first re-release. So it isn't like each one includes like a re-release of the new music, which sounds kind of the same. Her vocals are obviously improved and production's a little more fine-tuned, but they include like 6 unreleased songs that didn't make it to the original cut. So on my end, I bring a more mainstream flair to at least the music conversation, and she's been doing that. I'm trying to think of other.
That's badass though on her behalf.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's fucking badass. Yeah.
Yeah, I give her credit. I give her a lot of credit. That's the thing. The music industry. Lady Gaga right now too. She had an album come out 2013, 2014 called R Pop that she wanted to do a lot of stuff with, and her record label and her manager was different at the time. They like didn't let her do it. They kind of stripped her of her creative integrity, and she dropped them. Had a whole new label, and now her fans are aware that this like other iteration of this album exists, a sequel to this album, and they put a petition. In a week it got 40,000 signatures, and they just made the album go #2 on iTunes after 8 years just because of the fan support. And now she's looking into talking to her record label about, because they've since like fixed things, and she had a new manager. But just interesting, man. Music is great, but the power heads up top sometimes are very cruel, and not even just to women. I don't want to make this a women thing, because Taylor Swift, that's kind of, she brings like a feminist flavor to, I don't want to be controlled by a man. And in her case, it was a man who controlled her music. But just music in general, there is that dark side to it about, artists having creative integrity, and, a lot of these more unconventional bands. Someone else who I used to follow back in the day, Evanescence, just came out with a new album for the first time in several years. Wow. And I haven't heard, Bring Me to Life and all those classics back in the day. And very impressed with what they're putting out. I haven't heard of them in a while. My partner's a big fan, and brought it to I was like, Evanescence, and I was listening to it. I was like, wow, they're pretty good. So music is thriving. I think in 2020, they had the most lucrative streams ever, which makes sense because people were home.
Yes, something
like close to 1 trillion streams across all these streaming services. So music is thriving, entertainment is thriving. Movie theaters are, I'm worried about them. I'm a big horror fan. I have Halloween, the sequel to Halloween, coming out in October, and it's coming out regardless. It was delayed from last October. And I have Michael on my, see, now that we're doing this on Zoom, I get to show pictures, but I have Michael Myers on my wrist there. So, and I actually just got Pennywise a few weeks ago.
Badass, man. That's great work. Where'd you get it done? Let's plug your artist.
Yeah, actually, Bobby Schimmel. He has a place. It's called 45 Monk Tattoo in East Brunswick, New Jersey. So very, very, very good place. Very good work. I followed him all around. He was doing it like out of his basement safely. Then he had a shop in Linden that closed down, and now he's up in East Brunswick. Let me double check that that's the name of it. Yeah, 45 Monks. 45 Monks Tattoo, yeah.
While you do that, while you're fact checking exactly where it is, horror. This is a weird subject for me because I'm not a horror guy, but my wife is, and also I've had the privilege to interview a lot of directors and writers such as John Callis, who did The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, and No Solicitors and all this type of stuff. And they are great guys, and I met them from a friend through a friend. And I had to watch some of these movies, and my wife, she makes fun of me because I cover my eyes like I'm all scared. I don't know what happens. Like horror movies, like really, they're fascinating, but they make me really creeped out. I think what did it to me was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yep.
Back in the day, that's a hardcore film, bro.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Yeah. What's your favorite horror?
Halloween, the original Halloween, hands down.
The original Halloween, yeah.
Don't have to say. I mean, I love the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Streets, and Hellraiser is a big one that people don't really talk about a lot. Pinhead, I think that story is very interesting, but they took like a more sci-fi route to it. There's a lot of stuff coming up. Scream 5 is coming out. I don't think they're calling it Scream 5, but a new Scream is coming out, and that's the one intellectual horror property that hasn't really been touched. Saw is coming out with another one that Chris Rock is actually directing and starring in. Which I'm very, very interested to see how that works out. It's not a comedy. He's playing like a serious role. I think he plays a detective. That comes out, I think in May, and I think it's going to HBO Max. I'm pretty sure. I think they bought it. I think they're doing like a dual theater release. Some of these bigger movies. Godzilla Kong obviously just did that.
Did you watch that yet?
I did, yeah.
Is
Very.
it good? I haven't seen it yet.
I enjoyed it. It was very good. Yeah, big spectacle. It was what you would expect it would be. I was very impressed. Visually, aesthetically amazing and very good. Chucky's getting its own TV show on Sci-Fi and USA. But yeah, and the big one, Halloween had a rebirth in 2018. John Carpenter executively directed it, and then there's the guy who did oh my god, he did Eastbound and Down. You ever watch that show?
Oh, of course.
Eastbound and Down.
Yes.
What's the guy's name? Who started it?
Well, I could tell you his name is Kenny Powers on the show.
Yeah. Okay, so Kenny Powers. Okay, him. I can't think about the actor's name.
McBride.
But anyway,
McBride.
Danny McBride. Thank you, Danny McBride. He actually also executively produced it. So when I heard that, I was like, Danny McBride. But when you get a fan like that of the show, they do it right. And David Gordon Green, Danny McBride, Jamie Lee Curtis was in it, and they signed on for 2 new ones. One was supposed to come out last October, got delayed to this October, and then they have a third one. I won't say final because I'm sure someone in a few years will pick it up. But this has like kind of a beginning and an end. Right. Yeah.
Right. It's just going to go on like Star Wars is going to go on forever. And what went on forever, let's transition over, to the meat and potatoes. WrestleMania went on for another 2 days, which is really cool. They did a 2-day show. And Mania 37 was violent. It was colorful. It was juicy. There's a lot to unpack here. Where do I begin? First of all, I liked seeing Logan Paul get destroyed and sent to hell.
Yep.
You know exactly where I'm going with this. Yep. That was absolutely amazing, with Owens doing that. And where do you want to begin with this card? Because this card was violent. There was a lot of pinfalls. There was a lot of conclusions. There was a lot of finality here.
Yeah, I think the card was structured really well. Everyone wanted to know what was going to close. Everyone knew what would close the second night, the triple threat match for the Universal title. That's been the best book story. But everyone wanted the women to close, Bianca and Sasha, 2 African females in the main event of WrestleMania. Obviously, females have main evented one other time. I was there with Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte. But this was historic for all the reasons. And Bianca Belair, I've been following her career since NXT. She's a crazy athlete. She could do crazy shit. And Sasha Banks, obviously, and it's one of the best female in the company. And they did make that go last. So we'll get to that later. But I liked how they opened up the show with the WWE Championship, because that was really the only other spot it could go. So I in my mind, if I was booking this card, I would open up with the WWE Championship, especially it's poetic. Drew McIntyre won the title in a closed circuit arena, or not arena, the Performance Center, with no fans last year, and now he's entering the first person with fans, which, by the way, that gave me chills. I don't want to say I cried, but seeing, it's been I think it was a year, a month, and a day that fans were last seen on television. It was crazy seeing not, the Thunderdome or the Zoom screen. I liked how Vince McMahon opened the show, and I liked how they called attention to that. It was a pretty, and it looked more than 25,000. I know that it wasn't, but I like the way they shot it. They had some of the cardboard cutouts like the Super Bowl did, and it looked like a full arena. The crowd was hot. They reacted to what they should have, and so that was good. And it opened up with the WWE Championship match. I thought they were going to put it back on Drew. I thought Vince, kind of wanted to throw Drew, because he kind of, they call it the pandemic era now, the Thunderdome, which I guess they're kind of going back to at least until August. I kind of thought they'd throw him a bone for kind of like, being the standard bearer of that and carrying the title for much of the year. But I'm glad they kept it on Bobby. I think that Bobby's time, he's been in the company for 16 years, took a break, came back. When he came back, he wasn't booked the way that he should have been. He's a legitimate badass. I think he has like a 16-0 MMA record or something close to that, if I'm wrong, but 16-2 maybe, but he's a legitimate freak. And
he can fight.
Everyone, yeah, he can. And of course, when they put the title on Bobby so close to WrestleMania, the world's fantasy bookers, internet warriors, including myself, though, thought that the one and only Brock Lesnar would return to fight him. That is the money match for WWE right now. I'm sure it will happen. The WWE Network was just purchased by NBC Universal for like $1 billion over 5 years, so they definitely have the money. They're making almost $1 billion in TV rights deal alone. So I think the fact that they kept the title on Bobby shows me that maybe they have a plan for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby holds the title much of the summer and Brock has a surprise return and they do Brock and Bobby at SummerSlam. I think think that's where they're headed.
That would be
Which would be
one
awesome.
hell of a war.
Yeah.
Because you have two guys that are legit badasses, and even if it's scripted or whatever people want to say, like these guys throw hard. You've been at events, I've been at events. They
Oh
don't
yeah.
fuck around, man. And sometimes some people feel a certain way towards someone, or they know, like they feel their look. They're like, okay, you're a competitor, I'm a competitor. We're real fighters. So let's have a real fight. I think also the violence of Mania 37 was manifest by the crowd. The crowd really, I think, amped up these wrestlers. And I was
Oh yeah, absolutely.
fuck yes. I was so surprised when I saw the live crowd, and like you said, gave you chills, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it did it for the competitors. And the only thing that I wish they would have done differently is have Elias play the national anthem on guitar.
Yeah.
Why did that not happen?
Yeah, both America the Beautiful or whatever song they sang. We're not that we're judging, it's a wrestling show, but the performances weren't. And Rhea Ripley, the band who played Rhea Ripley, I love that song, but I don't know if they didn't do sound check. The Twitter felt the same way. There some of the performances were, I don't
We're
know if it was a
off.
sound issue. But they were off. Yeah, they were pretty off. Random side note, but yes, Elias playing. He did get to have a part in the show in the Braun Shane McMahon match. Which I guess we could talk about now because we're going out of order, but there's really not much to talk about.
Fuck it. Let's just go.
Braun and Shane, that match was, I get it. Shane McMahon's had, he's a daredevil, but at this stage, I mean, he's a father. He's in good shape. I don't get the allure of him. When he fought Undertaker at WrestleMania 32 and the entire 32-minute match was built up to him falling off the cell. I get why they do it. Whatever, but I'm kind of, we got to move past that. Braun Strowman deserves better. I mean, okay, he won. He had a great, the match was a lot better than I thought it would be. It was actually entertaining and it was booked well, but Braun Strowman should not be selling for Shane McMahon, period. I don't care if, Braun threw him into the universe and we never saw him again. Okay, yeah, he threw him off the cage. It was a great moment. He ripped the cage off. Great, wonderful. That was what the spot, the match was built around that spot, but it took too long to get there. So, and Braun the next night was in the WWE title picture on Raw. He didn't, there was a number one contenders match to face Bobby at Backlash. He didn't win, but at least it seems that maybe he's going to be repositioned to more of a main event guy, hopefully.
We've been talking about the slight that Strowman's been getting over the past couple of years, and he's such a great athlete and seems like a great guy. Like, he's very deserving of the spot, to take the spotlight. I've always loved him, and I love what he does for a lot of charities, and just, he's a great athlete, and he's huge.
Yeah.
As athletic as he is, to be as big as he is and do the things that he does. And he's so powerful, There was a lot of power things that we saw. I'm going to get back to the juice real quick, the gossip, then we'll get into the matches. We'll take a deep dive to the matches. But I tell you what, man, when the Bellas came out and slapped Bailey, that was hot.
It was good. I will say though, because I look at the dirt sheets and all what people are saying and the rumors. So allegedly, Becky Lynch is imminently returning to the company. She's like ready to go. She had a baby, I think, in December. She actually tweeted a picture of herself in the gym with a quote, but then it said night one. All the first letters spelt night one, so people thought that she was going to be there on night one. So I don't know if WWE was mad at her for that because she gave it away and they held it off. But everyone thought that segment with Bailey, they were doing it because people were a little annoyed that Bailey didn't have a spot. She was the champion for much of that era. I think you were at the show when she turned heel, or she was heel in Vegas.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning of her run. Yep. And she was incredible this past year. I mean, her and Sasha put on bangers, and so when she didn't get a spot on the card, which it just happens that way, not everyone can get a spot on the card, but I was glad that they wrote her something. She had a segment on night one and then night two, and then they did the Bella thing. So everyone assumed that Becky was going to come out. That was what I was even thinking. Like, okay, like someone's coming back. So when it was the Bella Twins, I like the Bella Twins. People had an issue with their Hall of Fame induction. I think they're more than deserving. People forget that they've been around for a fucking long time. They went from being valets on that Diva Search to Nikki had some good matches at the end of her run with Charlotte, Carmella, Natalya, Ronda Rousey. She put in the work when she could have rested on her laurels. She has her wine and her fashion company. They have their TV show. Like, they didn't need to be wrestling as long as they did, and they improved. They cared about it. Everyone said that Nikki Bella got where she was because of John Cena, but she put in the work. So I think, just as a side, she's more than, I think, deserving of the Hall of Fame. Being said, that's why they put her in that spot. They set them up to get booed. Obviously, people were not wanting them, and I don't, as much as I enjoy them and I respect them, I don't think, from your perspective, I know what you're saying. Like, yes, it was cool and whatnot, but you could tell the audience was expecting someone else.
Yeah, it was juicy. And the thing is, because my wife and my stepdaughter, they watch the Bella show, and every once in a while I sit down and I'm like, why am I watching this? But you get intrigued, you get like engaged.
Right.
So it's like when I saw them come out, I'm like, oh my God, the Bellas. I was like calling them. I'm like, hey, you got to come see the Bellas. Like, they're out here. Like, things make you excited for whatever reason. And the thing is, this was a lot of excitement. So let's talk about the bouts, man. Randy Orton, okay?
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt, that was violent. I love the aesthetics, the lighting.
Yeah.
And, Randy wins by way of pinfall. That was I really enjoyed that encounter. That was awesome.
Yeah. So, yes, I will provide an alternative view. I've been a huge fan of The Fiend. Huge. I think that Bray Wyatt in general is an incredible character. This whole story they've been doing. I mean, he's been this character for almost 2 years now. The Fiend should not be losing, period. His shoulder should not be getting pinned to the ground. He only lost one other time to Goldberg. It was an awful decision then. I get it. It was a distraction. And on Monday Night Raw, they did add some story into what's happening now. It looks like Alexa Bliss is like going down her own dark path. Like, she's going to have her own Fiend, it looks like. I love the whole beginning where he was burned and then he kind of regenerated himself into the old Fiend. That was awesome. Aesthetics were great. I know for a fact in the crowd, the red lighting is awful for them. Like, you can't see anything. So yes, it looks cool. But I remember when they first started doing that, it was a Hell in a Cell match with Fiend and Rollins, and the crowd hated that match because they couldn't see, because you had this big red cage and then you had this red lighting and the crowd could not see a thing, and they're paying money to go to the show. You asked me that
question when I was in Vegas. And the thing is, I was front row, luckily, so I didn't have that problem because the lights weren't hitting us. But I'm sure that the lights were hitting people behind us, or especially to the higher levels. So I could see that pissing people off.
Yeah, but no, I mean, aesthetically it was great. They had a match at WrestleMania 33 that also wasn't that well received. They were projecting like snakes onto the fucking mat. So they're going to take the supernatural element with him. I just wish it wasn't a real match. I wish it was more of an angle. Like, I don't think he needed to pin him. I mean, the Fiend kicked out of like 85 curb stomps with Rollins Hell in a Cell match, and now but I still love the character. I'm interested to see where it goes, but I know a lot of fans aren't as happy with where Vince is taking that story, because he started out as like the hottest thing in the industry, and now it's like, what are you doing here? So I'm a horror fan, so I'll always like it, but I am worried that they don't know how to use him properly, or that character.
That's what happens in wrestling a lot. How do you think they did with Owens beating Sami Zayn? I thought that was a good match. I liked it.
Yeah.
I think that was good character usage, and I like the fact that they were old buddies, and now here they are. What were your thoughts on that? I thought that was a very good match.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an NXT guy, so I watched them in NXT. They have a storied history way before WWE, Ring of Honor, and so they had some bangers in NXT. The issue with WrestleMania is that every once in a spot in the card, the matches are always kind of shorter length. So this could have went another 5-6 minutes. So you could tell they were kind of rushing through their spots, but it was all action. I mean, some of those moves they were doing was like, I mean, I've seen them before, but it was just move after move, and necks and shoulders and apron bumps, and it was intense. And when they had Logan Paul involved, I was afraid. I was like, I hope they don't, like, the fans want to see this match. This is like a pure wrestling match. So I'm glad they kept him on the outside. I figured he would get stunned at some point. So I thought that their usage of him was interesting. But you hear Sami's, I'm looking at the time right now, it was 9 minutes and 20 seconds. A match of those two should go at least 15 easy. So that's my only critique of it. But with that time frame, they put a lot in there. So I definitely enjoyed it.
You know what? That's 100% correct, is that it should not get compromised, the integrity of it. And I always love watching Owens. Like, I don't know how he's so athletic and with his frame, and no disrespect or judgment, but Jesus, he's a stunt man, bro. Like, he goes super, super hard. And who else went super, super hard? We're going to be all over the rails here with the lineup of breaking things down, I'm just going to mention the fights that I like the most, and then you feel free to mention the ones that you want to. But
Yeah.
the Nigerian drum fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That was an interesting one.
Apollo versus Big E. Apollo wins pinfall.
Yeah.
That was a hardcore match. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. Another thing that I'm looking at the time, it was under 7 minutes. So like great match. But they had an angle. They had this guy debut. He's been in the Performance Center for a while. So that was the way to protect Big E. I think Big E's gonna move into the Universal Championship picture now. The fans are behind him. They think he could be a main event guy. I agree. So I think taking the title off him was a smart move. Apollo's a guy who has been working his ass off in the very low to mid card. So to see him get his moment is big. So definitely enjoyed this. It was good. Hard hitting.
Oh, very hard hitting. And speaking of hard hitting, another one that I really enjoy. I enjoyed a lot of them. To be honest with you, I liked that the matches, and you're mentioning this, were shorter. They were fast, very aggressive, very violent. Like I remember watching like the 2 days. I'm like, this is just some fucking crazy shit, like pinfalls left and right and things going on here. And we'll get to the main event a little bit later, which I want to talk about because that was
oh boy,
barn burner, fire.
Yeah, incredible.
Oh my God. Oh yes. But Nia Jax doing her thing, with her teammate there, and that was an amazing female fight. They went hard. Dude, they were throwing her around. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And no disrespect, she's beautiful, but she big.
Yes, she is. Yeah. Yeah, that I was actually surprised that the women's tag division has kind of they don't really book it the best. Shayna Baszler has always been a big one. I think she should be a singles person. I think she should be alone. I'm glad she's doing something to the spotlight.
Yes.
But Natty and Tamina, though, I did not expect them to win the tag team turmoil match on night one. Tamina is someone who's been in that company, not the greatest worker, but she's been there for about 12, 13 years now. Hasn't given up.
That long?
She's never been like fired when they do their cuts every year, which that's where she is right now. So to see her get a WrestleMania moment, even though she lost, that was nice. I like when someone's there for a while and they get the spot. And the doing the Jimmy Superfly Snuka Splash, as much as he's a problematic person and he has a storied history, it must have meant a lot to her. And I've been a huge Natty fan. I don't think she gets enough credit. I think she's one of the best technical workers in that women's division. She's always the one training them. She helped train Shayna Baszler. She helped train Ronda Rousey, and no one really knows that behind the scenes. And she comes around. She's in some high profile stories and she goes to the background. But I like that. It was a long match. They gave him a lot of time. And again, Tamina's not known as the best worker. So that match, it surprised me actually. And it was one of the longer matches on both nights. The tag team turmoil match was about 15 minutes. And then the actual women's championship, tag team championship match was about 15 minutes. So they gave the women time. So I was impressed by both of those.
Ripley versus Asuka. My girl is Asuka. You know that's a heartbreaker for me, but I saw we knew it was coming, right?
That Asuka's going to lose?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with this is that I'm a huge Charlotte Flair guy. She was supposed to be in this match. I don't know if they wanted it to be a triple threat match or just Charlotte and Asuka. She actually got COVID right before WrestleMania.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, I think she was cleared a few days before, but they just didn't want to chance it, so they wrote the story with Rhea. Rhea's been good. She was NXT Women's Champion. The match was good. I was expecting more from them, I have to say. And that's a testament to how much I value them because the match was good. Don't get me wrong. But Asuka used to have bangers in NXT, and she's one of my top 5 women's wrestlers. But something about the main roster, she lost some of her luster. I mean, she was having bangers with Bayley in NXT. She let Nia Jax have a good match. Asuka and Sasha have had good matches. So this was good. They actually had a rematch on Monday Night Raw that was kind of sloppy. I don't know if they were tired from the night before, whatever the case was, but it looks like now they're transitioning. Charlotte returned on Raw, and they're transitioning to the triple threat match. I think that was planned for Mania next month at Backlash. So I'm excited for that match. But yeah, Rhea, I'm happy for Rhea. And I'm excited to see where she goes. Both women's divisions have a new, and for NXT fans, they're headed by, it's like new blood now. in both divisions, so it should be exciting.
I had the opportunity to see, Nia Jax and also Asuka wrestle, and there was a moment where Nia Jax threw Asuka into like the guardrail, like the fencing around, like the pit around the ring,
Mm.
She fucking threw her hard. So whenever anyone tells me this shit is, fraudulent or whatever, no, it's not.
Oh
I
yeah, I
thought
mean,
Asuka got murdered there. Like I was like, oh, she got
yeah, it was
thrown
rough.
hard,
Yeah, that was rough.
and it's when
Sasha,
Asuka was lighter.
yeah, Asuka actually got her teeth knocked out from Shayna Baszler, and she gave her a concussion. People didn't even know if Asuka was going to make WrestleMania. Back in, I think, the end of February, Shayna hit Asuka with a hard kick and knocked Asuka's tooth out, and she had a concussion for a few weeks. So she takes a beating and gives beatings too.
She gives beatings, and that's why she's one of my favorite. Her, Lacey
Yeah.
Evans. I mean, I love how aerobic she is. She's just wonderful. So before we move to the main event, is there any other matches you want to cover? You want to talk about Seth Rollins? Anyone else? Do you want to mention?
That from a pure wrestling perspective, Sammy and Kevin, Cesaro and Rollins were the two I was really excited about. They both got a little shortchanged on time, but they both were incredible. Very happy for Cesaro. He's another one who's been there for a long time. He's always been mid card. He's like a multiple time tag team champion. He's had the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship. So I'm hoping that this kind of brings him to that upper echelon. I'd love to see him in a feud with Roman. He is incredible. I think Vince never saw him as the guy because his English isn't the best and he's not that charismatic. But I've always loved him. He's the strength that he does. His uppercuts are stiff. He's always been one of my favorites and a favorite of the internet. Sheamus and Riddle I thought was very good.
Yes.
Sheamus has been on a renaissance career run right now. His matches with Drew McIntyre. I don't know if you've caught. If not, you should go back. I think it was Fastlane, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in a no holds barred match. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre on Raw. Sheamus has been killing it. So I'm glad. As much as I don't like seeing the older guys beat the newer guys, I think that the older guys should put over the newer guys. In this case, I think Sheamus deserves it because he was out. He was out for almost a year with spinal stenosis. He didn't know if he was going to wrestle again. His neck was pretty jacked up.
And he gets a pinfall at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
is incredible.
And he's come back and he's putting really. I mean, he's always been great, but he's kind of like an under the radar. He's been in the main event. He's been world champion. He's reached that level. But it's nice to see him getting this career renaissance.
He's that great supporting, character. He's that great supporting, like that. He brings the whole thing together.
Yeah. Last match for the main event. Bad Bunny, that tag team match. I mean, I don't know if people are aware. Bad Bunny is not a wrestler at all. He is a multi-million-dollar Latino recording artist, and he just never needs to probably write another song again. And the fact that he has been on W programming almost every week after the Rumble, his promos have been good. He's got a swagger about him. His performance was like, I'm comparing it to Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was an athlete, obviously, so she gets a different edge. So if anything, he's more impressive because she at least was in Octagon. She was an MMA fighter. She had the strikes down. But she's still impressed with her presence and her selling when she debuted. But man, I was floored. I mean, even if you don't like his music, if you're not like, people don't like, celebrities stealing, matches from like the guys on the card who've been working the whole year. Fine, I get that. Though, I mean, the Canadian Destroyer, like that shit you see on like AEW, for God's sakes. He was, I just thought he impressed the hell out of me. I want to see him again. I don't know. I doubt he will. But, The Miz is a consummate professional. He's the perfect guy to put in there. He's been there for a while. John Morrison. Damian Priest was a guy I've been following at NXT. I love that he got the rub. So I just thought I didn't think it was going to be bad at all, but this, for me, was one of my favorite matches of of both shows. I just thought it was laid out perfectly. It got time, and it just reminded me of Ronda when you didn't know how Ronda would be, and she shocked the world. I mean, the entire world was talking about him. Media outlets, TMZ. I mean, he was. I give him a lot of credit because you could tell he put the work in and he respects the business enough to put on the kind of performance that he put on them.
Bro, I tell you, when that spotlight hits you, it's either you step up or you back down. And some people really find a way to get a resurgence of get galvanized. I'm going to talk about some Eminem type shit right now. This is like your one moment. This is like the whole thing where you have a spotlight on you, and some people they know how to deliver. And I really think that if we look at things, especially during COVID, how crazy it's been, these athletes that they're doing their thing the way they've always done it, but they're trying harder. They're out there, they're putting themselves out there. And I've traveled during COVID, dude. It sucks. It's not easy. It's difficult. You know, for them to go out there and give their best and compete and wrestle and do the things that they do as entertainers. And I just think it's amazing when you see a spectacle like we saw the past 2 days. So, speaking of spectacle, the main event, holy
Oof.
fucking shit. Do you want to take it? I'll let you go first if you want.
Yeah. We're talking about night two's main event, I suppose, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you knew this wasn't going to be bad by any stretch. I think the story's been great. I think they pulled an audible, turning Edge heel. I think he's more comfortable being a heel. The initial plan was Roman versus Edge in a singles match, which I still think would have been okay, but Daniel Bryan is just incredible. He's someone who I always thought was a good wrestler, but his like character annoyed me. He just always like grated on me. But I always respect him. He's like one of the top 10 wrestlers in the world, always will be. And he, in this match, I mean, I think he was the thread that pulled us together. And Roman, man, Roman, internet hates him, hated him. He always put on good matches. I never, denied that. I thought he put on similar matches when he was a babyface. Like it was always the same structure, but he's a good professional wrestler. But ever since this heel turn, man, I've been all in. This is what he was born to play, the character he was born to play. All of his matches, his match with Daniel Bryan at Fastlane last pay-per-view was amazing. This was booked perfectly, laid out perfectly. The edge of the steel chair against his mouth, and the way that Roman sold that. I literally thought he was going to tap out. Daniel pulling the edge out of the referee out of the ring, spearing Roman off the stairs, powerbombing Daniel through the table. I mean, it was the concertos. I mean, it was. This was like Attitude Era wrestling. I mean, Vince really let them go at it.
It was fucking hardcore.
Yeah,
when Roman picked up Bryan and threw him on the announce table.
Yeah,
that was a hard throw, dude. Like that was some real shit. And that's the bad Roman, and it's great to see him. Like he's just so much more forceful. And the whole match to me was just like you said, they let them go, and boy, did they go! They went hard.
Yeah.
I'm
both main events.
A plus. What do you grade this? It's got to be up in an A, right?
I'd give it an A. Yeah, definitely would give it an A. Yeah, and I have to give credit to Bianca and Sasha as well, closing out that night one. That wasn't also an incredible match. That was very good. Bianca's 450 splash and that hair whip spot that was not fake, because you saw that welt on Sasha's stomach. I don't know if you noticed when she was on the outside, her fucking stomach was like a hole. That was intense. So I got to say, I was very impressed with the show. A lot of people saying, I always want it to be 2 nights. I don't. Next year, it's going to be an AT&T Stadium. Can AT&T Stadium hold 100,000 people this time next year? I'd hope so, but you never know.
Wait, in Dallas?
Yeah, WrestleMania is in Dallas next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and Stone Cold did the trailer for it during WrestleMania, so people think that he may be involved. Not in a match. He'll probably host it or have a guest appearance or something. Yeah, man, wrestling's in a good state, and
he'll be drinking beer too. He'll
his own beer too. Stone Cold. What is this beer called? I forgot of his beer. He has a beer.
He's got his own shit now. I know back in the day it was Miller Lite, I think, that he slammed.
Well, yeah, that's what but he has his own.
But now he's got his own.
Works with a brewery. Yeah.
Interesting.
I've had it before.
Broken Skull IPA. He's got an IPA.
Broken Skull IPA. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. That's right. Do you like IPAs?
I'm not a huge beer drinker, but I don't dislike them. I would try anything really, but I'm more of like a martini vodka Manhattan guy.
I was going to ask, what's your weapon of choice? Martinis are good. I like martinis.
Yeah, I'm like a dirty martini or like a nice old fashioned Manhattan, but I'm all over the board with what I drink.
What's that old fashioned Manhattan? That sounds interesting. What is that?
Oh, a Manhattan is cherry bourbon. And old fashioned similar, but has like an orange slice. You like muddle like a sugar cube. Some of them have bitters, some of them don't. So they're all good.
So that pretty much gets you rocked after like 1 or 2, right?
Yeah. Does the trick. Does
That
the
is
trick,
the
get the drink.
trick, because me, I'm so immune to like my weapons of choice. Like I love vodka, club soda, whatever. I could drink like 90 of these things, and that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. And
Right.
then when you get that like one thing, like when you deviate your course, like every once in a while, I'll be like, all right, let me do a shot of tequila, and I'll bang one out. I'm like, and I start feeling silly. My wife could tell right away. She knows because I'm all fucking weird and I'm acting goofy. I'm acting like a teenager that just located his dick for the first time. Like, hey, babe. She's like, oh, okay, what's going on with you? I'm like, I'm buzzed. Like it happens, man. Like, but to each their own. What about food, man? You're in Jersey. We'll close out with this. Let's just recap real quick before we close out with the food conversation, because I know you're a big food guy like I am.
Yep.
Roman Reigns wins via pinfall in a
Yep.
great main event on the second night, and Sasha
Stacks both of them up, pins both of them.
Yeah, pins both of them, and Banks loses. That was Did you see that
Yeah.
coming?
Kind of. Whenever there's someone who wins the Rumble and they're newer, they're building up, it's kind of a waste to make them not win. I wish Sasha did win. I love Bianca, but she's young. She's, I think, 25, 27, something like that. She could have, I feel like she could have waited. Sasha is like 0-6 at WrestleMania. Still, that goes to show how great she is, because she's still considered one of the best women in all of wrestling, not even just WWE. So I would have liked to see Sasha keep it, but the match was incredible. I love Sasha. Bianca did great for Bianca's a rookie. She's been wrestling for I think 3 or 4 years at Bianca Belair, and it's a main event WrestleMania to have that kind of a performance. That's pretty big.
Yeah, man. 100%, and it was a great Mania. And speaking of great, all right. So I was just in Jersey recently. Next time I'm out there, we have to hang out, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
The food, fuck. And my sister looks at me. She's like, in Italian, they call it gavone, which means just fat fuck. You're just eating all the time. She's like, you eat a lot. I'm like, the food in Vegas isn't very good. In New Jersey, you get the best quality meats. The color is right. Sometimes I get meat out here like soup assad in Vegas. It looks like soup of shit. All right. So where's your weapons of choice eateries, brother?
There's a place in Clark called Paragon I really like. They have they have a lot of craft beer. So people who like craft beer go there a lot. They have good mixed drinks. They have these amazing ghost pepper buffalo wings. It's like a ghost pepper seasoning they put on them. I love spicy food. Hot stuff is probably gonna kick me in the ass in a few years, but they have the hottest thing I've ever tried in my life. It's the ghost pepper buffalo wings. Destroys my mouth, and I can't even like have more than one, which says a lot, because I'm like the go-to of my friends, my family, for like spicy things. Like I'll eat something and won't flinch, and my mom will be like in tears because she thinks it's so hot. They also have ghost pepper duck quesadillas. So it's a quesadilla with duck in it, shredded duck, cheese, and ghost pepper like seasoning in it. Incredible. And other in terms of restaurant, I mean, I haven't been eating out as much the past year. I've been, ordering takeout and whatnot. But I'm big in Italian food. There's a couple good Italian places around here. I like, good homemade Italian food. Jose Tejas. I know you know Jose Tejas well.
Oh, don't even get me started on that shit.
Yeah, of course.
That's the first thing I did. I get off a plane and I'm like, we're going to Jose Tejas. And I went there early. I made sure I got my ass in there. I got my chips and salsa, not to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
The steak fajitas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
I'm
my
a black
God.
and chicken kind of guy, but yeah.
It's so good. Like, I don't know if it's because the grill's just like dirty and I don't know what they do back there. Remember like the movie, what was it? Wedding Crashers. The meatloaf. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what she does back there. I don't know what the fuck they do back there, but whatever they're doing is magic, bro.
Yeah. You smell like it for the next 3 days too.
Oh God, it goes through your pores. I got a great story for you. All right. There was one time I was in a relationship and we broke up. We went to Jose Tejas the night before. Okay. And I stayed at her house. We had an argument for whatever reason. I don't know. So I had Jose Tejas leftovers in her refrigerator. So I'm like, fuck. How am I going to get my Jose Tejas leftovers back? I have to make things. I have to piece it up. I got to piece it
Oh
out.
God.
So
Wow.
so I call her.
Commitment.
I'm like, listen, I'm gonna come over and we're gonna work things out. But really, I didn't want to. I just want my fucking leftovers, and I had like 3 Miller Lite cans in there that I want to collect as well. So
Oh my God. And
I'm a,
she had no idea.
no, I was a savage, and I apologize if she's listening to this right now. She knows who she is, and she's a wonderful person. God bless her. But at that point in time, people, this is my promotion for Jose Tejas. This is my
Oh
infomercial.
yeah, it
Bro,
deserves it.
that's how good it is.
It
You'll
deserves
take
it. It's
someone's
that good.
soul to get it.
It is that good. I can't, I can't even judge you for that. That's something else. That's commitment, but not to the thing you think you'd be committed to.
I was a horrible person. I'm much better now. I've become a Buddhist, and I'm way nicer. But
There you go.
hey, speaking of which, man, I know you've been working and stuff like that. How's your new job, real quick, man? Let us know about it.
Yeah, I'm a global trial specialist for a pharmaceutical company, and I'm working on some drugs that hopefully are going to change people's lives. Melanoma, diffuse large B cell lymphoma. So, you know, working on the operational side of it, making sure that the trials move quickly and whatnot. And I was following the vaccine development. I'm big into research and clinical trials, and saw the position open up, and there was financial advancement and career advancement. So I love it. It's a huge company, and I love what I'm doing. It's important work, knowing that at the other end of it, a drug could be changing someone's lives. So yeah, that's what I do.
Congratulations, man. Well deserved. And
Thank you.
oh, absolutely, man. Very intelligent and very well deserving of a great job like that. So let me ask you this: like, is it okay if you tell us the company and how to find these products in particular? Because nowadays people need things to pacify. Things are fucked up.
Yeah. Um, Legally, I don't think I can.
Okay,
I signed a lot of non-disclosure stuff,
I
so
figured that.
just
Sure.
out of abundance of it's one of the big ones. People have definitely heard of it. In terms of anyone who needs anything, I could tell you to talk to your medical provider, ask about clinical trials, and go to clinicaltrials.gov. You can look at a bunch of research with, type in whatever, if you have cancer, if you have anything that you're looking for things for, there are definitely resources to go over. But clinicaltrial.gov will help point you in the right direction wherever you live geographically, and we'll set you up with trials that are testing out these products. Talk to your your medical doctor or your primary care doctor, and they'll guide you if they think that it's the right choice to test out some of these products. So that's about I think that's a fair assessment.
I got one last question for you. As always, us Italians over here now. We always got one more. I got one more question over here. What got you into this noble pursuit? Because it's great to do what you're doing. Like, what made you want to help other people? Because a lot of people, especially nowadays, I hate to say it, I don't want to sound like pessimistic, but a lot of people don't want to help people out. Like,
No,
what
yeah,
made you
definitely.
want to do that, man?
So as you know, we had the mental health conversation. So I started out in the psychology field, graduated with a degree in psychology, went to graduate school for a year, and then kind of like the more research side of it. I initially went to like a psychotherapist and a counselor, but kind of deviated from that. And then I worked for Kessler Foundation. I could say that Kessler is in New Jersey, at least. It's like a physical therapy rehab place, but they have a research division that people with multiple sclerosis, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, kids with autism, any neuropsychological type of disorder come and does clinical trials. They didn't do drugs necessarily, but they do like interventional, so behavior modification. They're testing out a new memory retraining computer program. That's the trial you would do. So now I've shifted from that into more drug trials, whereas my last job was more behavioral or educational type of trials. This is like actual drug trials. And I don't know, I just feel like testing something out that you could see if it can help someone is just fascinating, that there's science behind it. And like I said, watching this vaccine develop and, people having reservations, which I totally understand, oh, it's too soon. How is it possible? But, being on the other end of it, I know that, okay, well, the template of this vaccine has been around for years. The coronavirus this strain of it is new. Coronavirus has been on the back of Lysol cans. I don't have one next to me for years. People just never read all the different things that it killed. So, the blueprint of that vaccine is based off of that vaccine that's been around for years. And just the idea of bringing people in, testing it on them, of course, there's risks involved, but, there's such a, I'm work with the FDA closely now in my new job. That's where kind of the hush hush comes into it. But I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. If anything can help someone and that there's science back behind it, there's numbers back behind it, you could say that, 94% of people didn't get this or did get this. I've always found that fascinating. And, everything that I've done, whether it was psychology, mental health, and talking, whether it was my last job, which is more, brain related stuff, or now this, which is kind of more like oncology, immunology, hematology. I just think that people need help in their various facets of life, and people are maybe afraid to ask for it sometimes, and people should never be afraid to ask for anything, whether it's mental health, call a hotline, talk to your friend, whether it's, you have a disease or a rare disorder, go to clinicaltrials.gov, see if there's a medication for it, talk to your doctor. There's always help out there somewhere. And I think people sometimes are afraid to look for it. And this pandemic, caused a lot of anxiety for different things. We talked about it, a whole show about it. And, I just think that to alleviate people's anxiety nowadays should be the utmost priority for all of us, including myself. I'm a very anxious person. I don't always need to be. So there's a lot of things that we could do to help, help ourselves. And there's a lot of resources out there. And I hope people take advantage of them, no matter what they are.
Amazing, content you shared with people that will be listening that I know probably suffer from conditions, and that's very valuable information, man. Like, like you said, the pandemic has fucked up a lot of people. It could make or break us, and the thing is, we got to fight through it and figure out ways like you're trying to do. You're figuring out ways to help people. You're figuring out ways to make things better. That's why I had to ask that question, is because I think it's very, remarkable. And I have to give you nothing but respect, brother, that you're putting your heart out there and you're putting yourself out there to help people get better and shake all this shit off. I mean, because things were fucked up, like you said, for a while, like even prior to all this,
Yeah.
Now we're still dealing with the repercussions, and people are trying to find new ways to make a living, and things are weird. But you need to have mental stability before you could do anything physically. You can't be physical if you don't have your mental capacity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Jimmy, I tell you what, man, this was great. We got to roll one of these out once a month, man. This took way too long to get together.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad WrestleMania happened. It spawned it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I wish you and your beautiful family, all the best health. I'm here whenever you need me, just to bullshit or do a show or whatever. I appreciate, again, everything that you've done for the show and what you're doing, more importantly, in life for other people. That is remarkable. And I think a lot of people are going to get some great information from what you shared there at the end of the show.
Thank you. Well, I always love being here. It's been a pleasure. I think we did our first show almost 2 years ago at this point. So
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a pleasure. I'm always here, and definitely next time you're in Jersey, we definitely have to link up and
please
smell from Jose Tejas.
We're going to Jose Tejas, and we're going to take that place down.
There we go.
Thank you, brother. I'll
Love
talk
it.
to you soon.
Love
man.
it.
Yep.